The radar blip moves steadily across the controller's screen, exactly where it should be, maintaining altitude, maintaining course, following its flight plan with perfect precision. But something is terribly wrong. The controller keys his microphone for the 8th time in 12 minutes. His voice calm but edged with growing concern. Flight 739. This is Jakarta Center. Radio check. How do you read? Silence. Just the soft hiss of static through the speakers. He tries again on the emergency frequency. Any station. This is Jakarta Center. Attempting to contact Flight 7. If you can hear this transmission, please relay. Still nothing. The aircraft continues flying. A ghost ship in the sky, visible on radar but unreachable by radio. 143 souls aboard traveling at 500 knots through the darkness, and nobody on the ground can talk to them. Nobody knows if the pilots are conscious. Nobody knows if there is an emergency. Nobody knows if everyone aboard is already dead. Before I reveal what happened on this mysterious flight, if you want to hear more real aviation mysteries and disasters explained from a pilot's perspective, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. What you are about to discover is one of the most chilling incidents in modern aviation, and the explanation is something nobody expected. I am Captain Paul Henderson. In 25 years of commercial aviation, I have experienced radio failures, navigation system malfunctions, electrical problems, and countless technical issues, but losing all communication with air traffic control while the aircraft continues flying normally is one of the most unsettling scenarios in aviation. Because when we cannot talk to you, we cannot tell you what is wrong. We cannot ask for help. We cannot coordinate an emergency response. We are alone in the sky, and you are alone on the ground, watching helplessly as we fly toward an unknown fate. This is the story of what happened when an airliner lost all contact with the ground and continued flying for hundreds of kilometers while controllers, airlines, and emergency services watched in growing horror, powerless to intervene. This is the story of the ghost flight that nobody could reach, and the terrifying mystery of what was happening inside that cockpit. Welcome aboard. September 23rd, 2019, a Monday evening. Soekarno-Hatta International Airport in Jakarta, Indonesia. The sun is setting over the sprawling metropolis, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples. The airport is busy with the evening departure rush. Aircraft taxiing in organized chaos toward runways, passengers streaming through terminals. Acigechi 24, Garuda Indonesia, Flight 739, is preparing for departure to Makassar, a city on the island of Sulawesi in eastern Indonesia. It is a routine domestic flight operated multiple times daily, carrying business travelers, families, and tourists across the archipelago. Flight time is approximately 2 hours and 15 minutes. The aircraft is an Airbus A330, a modern twin-engine wide-body capable of carrying up to 300 passengers in typical configuration. Registration Papa Kilo Golf. This particular aircraft is 7 years old with 18,000 hours on the airframe. Mechanically sound, recently inspected, showing no deficiencies. 137 passengers board, along with 6 crew members. They settle into their seats, stow bags, fasten seatbelts. Just another evening flight. Business people working on laptops, families with children settling in for the journey, elderly passengers already dozing. The cabin crew complete their safety checks, close the overhead bins, prepare for departure. In the flight deck, 2 pilots complete their pre-flight procedures. Captain Budi Santoso occupies the left seat. He is 48 years old with over 14,000 hours of flight time, including 4,000 hours in the Airbus A330. He is experienced, professional, well-regarded by colleagues. His training records show consistently high performance. First Officer Rani Wijaya sits in the right seat. She is 32 years old with 3,000 hours total time and 800 hours in the A330. She is competent, careful, thorough. This is her 3rd year with Garuda Indonesia. She has flown with Captain Santoso several times before. They work well together, communicate effectively, trust each other's abilities. The weather's excellent, clear skies over Jakarta, good conditions forecast along the route and at Makassar. No turbulence expected, no storms to navigate around. Unfeezy flight. At 6-30-8 in the evening local time, Flight 739 pushes back from the gate. They start engines, complete their after-start checklist, and taxi toward the departure runway. Ground control provides taxi instructions. Captain Santoso acknowledges clearly, professional, routine. At 6:52, tower clears them for takeoff. Santoso advances the thrust levers. The Airbus accelerates smoothly down the runway at the proper speed. He rotates. The nose lifts. The main gear leaves the pavement. Flight 739 climbs into the darkening sky, turning east toward Sulu. The departure is flawless. They follow the published procedure exactly, climbing through the complex airspace around one of Southeast Asia's busiest airports. Jakarta Departure Control provides altitude clearances and heading assignments. First Officer Wijaya acknowledges each transmission clearly and professionally. At 7-0-8, they are handed off to Jakarta Center for the en route portion of the flight. Flight 739, contact Jakarta Center now on frequency 12-4-point-5. 1-2-4-point-5, Flight 739. Good evening, Wijaya responds. She changes the radio frequency and checks in with the new control. Jakarta Center Flight 739 is with you, climbing through flight level 230. Flight 7, Jakarta Center radar contact. Climb and maintain flight level 370. Climb and maintain 370. Flight 739. Everything is normal, professional, routine. The last transmission anyone will hear from Flight 7. The aircraft continues climbing toward its assigned altitude of 37,000 feet. On the controller's radar screen, the transponder shows the flight climbing exactly as instructed. The flight plan shows them tracking along their assigned route. Everything appears completely normal. At 7:15, the controller needs to issue a minor route modification due to traffic. He keys his microphone. Flight 739, Jakarta Center, turn left heading 090 for traffic spacing. No response. He tries again. Flight 739, turn left heading 0-9-0. Still nothing. The controller frowns. Radio failures happen occasionally. Sometimes frequency congestion causes transmissions to be blocked. Sometimes pilots are momentarily distracted and miss a call. He waits 30 seconds and tries again, speaking more slowly and clearly. Flight 739, Jakarta Center, if you read, turn left heading 090 and acknowledge 0. Now, the controller is becoming concerned. He checks his radio equipment. Everything is functioning normally. Other aircraft on the frequency are hearing him clearly. The problem is specific to Flight 739. He tries the emergency frequency. Flight 739, Jakarta Center on guard. How do you read nothing, nothing? He asks another aircraft in the area to try contacting 739 on the air-to-air frequency that all aircraft monitor. Garuda 652, can you try reaching Flight 739 for me? Jakarta 652 will try a moment later. Jakarta 652, we called them on 1-2. No response. The controller's supervisor comes over, having noticed the unusual situation. They discuss options. The aircraft is clearly still flying. The transponder is working, sending altitude and identification data, but there is no radio contact. They try sending a Datalink message through the aircraft communications addressing and reporting system, the text-based system that allows ground personnel to communicate with aircraft even when voice radio is not working. They send multiple messages. No response at 7-20-2, 7 minutes after the last successful radio contact. The controller notifies his supervisor that Flight 739 is Nordo, no radio contact. The supervisor immediately contacts Garuda Indonesia Operations, informing them of the situation. At the Airline Operations Center, duty managers receive the notification with alarm. An aircraft with no radio contact is a serious emergency. They attempt to contact the flight through every available means. Datalink, messages, different radio frequencies, satellite communication systems, nothing works. The aircraft is completely silent. Meanwhile, Flight 739 continues flying normally. On radar, it is maintaining its altitude perfectly. Its ground speed is normal. Its flight path is steady. There is no indication of any emergency. No erratic maneuvering. No rapid altitude changes. No transponder squawk indicating distress. The aircraft is simply flying its programmed route as if nothing is wrong. Except nobody can talk to the crew. Emergency protocols activate. The Indonesian Search and Rescue Agency is notified. Military radar facilities are contacted to provide additional tracking. Fighter jets are placed on alert, ready to scramble for visual intercept if necessary. Airports along the aircraft's route are notified to prepare for a possible emergency landing. At Garuda Indonesia headquarters, senior management is alerted. Public relations staff prepare statements in case the situation becomes public. Family notification procedures are reviewed. Everyone is hoping this is just a radio malfunction, a technical glitch that will be resolved when the aircraft lands normally at but as the minutes tick by with no contact, darker scenarios begin to circulate. Is this another Helios Airways situation where everyone aboard lost consciousness due to pressurization failure? Has there been a hijacking with someone preventing the pilots from communicating? Is there a fire in the electronics bay, disabling communications while the crew fights to save the aircraft? Controllers continue attempting contact every few minutes. Different frequencies, different controllers, emergency frequencies.